To solve this challenge, let's draw the inspiration from an amazing entrepreneur, Barbara Corcoran, who once famously noted, "The difference between successful people and the others is how long they spend time feeling sorry for themselves." So let's always remember that each test question is an opportunity for you to move forward and get closer to your career goals, no matter what the challenges are. You're presented with 10 letters. The letters you see on the screen are S, O, N, T, I, P, M, R, O, O. You need to build English business word, and you need to use each letter only once. Well, it's only natural to feel apprehensive about the difficulty of this question. But remember, this challenge is a chance for you to prove your resilience. Collect your thoughts, remind yourself of your capabilities, and approach each question with vigor and persistence. This would allow you not only to get closer to your goal, but also build a stronger, more competent yourself. Time's up. Are you ready to show your answer? With each question you engage with, you are sharpening your skills and enhancing your understanding. Always keep in mind that every practice, every moment of effort is a valuable contribution to your personal and professional growth. Encourage yourself to step out of your comfort zone. And it probably shouldn't surprise you that even if you took a wrong guess, this time it has its own benefits. In fact, one of the most crucial part of self-improvement journey is believing that making mistakes is not just part of learning, but it's crucial to it, since it enables personal and intellectual development. Speaking about mistakes, you might be curious to learn that the most typical mistake people make in this question is trying to build the word from top to bottom, the same way as we would read it, instead of focusing on the theme, like business word, and trying to build the relevant word. Well, since I want you to succeed, I'd like to give you a hint. This word refers to marketing activities that aim to increase customer engagement, sales, and brand visibility. Still couldn't solve it? Well, here's another hint. The word starts with the letter P, and the word ends with the letter S. I'm pretty sure you've guessed it by now. The word is promotions. Promotional activities can include discounts, special offers, advertising campaigns, and events designed to attract more customers and encourage them to purchase products or services within a specified period. It's a 10-letter word and is spelled as Promotions. To solve this question successfully, consider the perspective of Albert Einstein. It's not that I am so smart, it's just I stay with problem longer. With this in mind, let's try to persist through each complex problem with Mr. Einstein's patience, and your persistence will pave the way to your knowledge breakthroughs. You're presented with a group of 3 cool-looking shapes. Each shape has numbers inside. The first shape has numbers 10, 9, 3, 4, 2, 1, and then number 20 in the middle. The second shape has numbers 11, 10, 5, 5 again, 3, 2, and then number 9 in the middle. And then the third shape has numbers 12, 11, 6, 4, 3, 1, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 12, choice B, 14, choice C, 18, and last but not least, choice D, 21. You might be preempting a comment from me on the question's level of difficulties. But hey, look at every complex question in the assessment test as an invitation for you to grow. Take a moment to compose yourself, trust in your potential, and face this question with zeal and determination. By joining forces, we will navigate this challenge and emerge more formidable on the other side. Well, time's up. Are you ready to show your answer? Keep in mind that your determination in facing these questions, whether they lead to triumphs or teachable moments, is what truly defines your path to success. Keep pushing, practicing, and persevering. Speaking about teachable moments, also known as mistakes, you might be curious to learn that the most typical mistake people make during this particular question is not grouping inside and outside numbers together for the calculations. But hey, regardless if you've done it or not, we recognize that every error, paves the way for your understanding and essential skills, driving your passion for learning further. Once you consider this grouping, the pattern here is very simple. Middle number is calculated as a multiplication of subtractions of outside and inside numbers. Let's look at the example. In the first shape, the outside numbers are 10, 3, and 2, and the inside numbers are 9, 4, and 1. 10 minus 3 minus 2 in parentheses, multiplied by, in parentheses again, 9 minus 4 minus 1 equals 20. And as you can see, 20 is the number in the middle, which is a result of these calculations. Let's confirm that the pattern is right by recalculating the values in the second shape. 11 minus 5 minus 3 in parentheses, multiplied by 10 minus 5 minus 2 equals 9. And now is the time to calculate the missing number. 12 minus 6 minus 3 multiplied by 11 minus 4 minus 1 in parentheses equals 18. So the correct answer here is choice C, 18. To solve this challenge, let's draw the energy and the inspiration from Nelson Mandela's wisdom. It always seems impossible until it's done. The key to remember is that with each question you practice, you're one step closer to making the impossible possible. Let this drive you through preparation, tuning challenges into stepping stones for your success and making you smarter and more prepared along the way. You're presented with 3 shapes, and the 4th shape is missing. You need to select the missing shape out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. You may think that this question is daunting and unsolvable, yet this particular one offers a unique opportunity for you to expand your knowledge and skills. Pause, take a deep breath, and engage with this question confidently. Your dedication to understanding and solving this problem is not just preparing you for the test, but for a successful career ahead. Together, we will conquer this challenge and enhance your resilience. Time's up. Are you ready to show your answer? Consider this. Doing your best on every question is an investment into your future success. Right answers add knowledge, while the wrong answers teach you resilience. Both are invaluable tools in your continuous journey of self-improvement. In fact, one of the most critical parts of your self-improvement journey is believing that making mistakes is not just part of your learning, but also crucial to it, since it enables personal and intellectual development. Speaking about mistakes, you might be curious to learn that the most typical mistake in this particular question is not considering that each shape in the matrix has its own pattern. And this pattern is very simple. Let's look into details. And let's start with the diamond. Diamond probably has the simplest pattern. It rotates 3 hours clockwise with every matrix. In the first shape, the diamond is at 12 o'clock. In the second shape, the diamond is at 3 o'clock, and then it moves to 6 o'clock. The circle alternates between the center and 6 o'clock position. In the first shape, it's at the center. Then it moves to 6 o'clock, and then it moves back to the center. Cross alternates between the corners at 5 and 11 o'clock. In the first shape, the cross is at 5 o'clock, then it moves to 11 o'clock, and then back to 5 o'clock. Triangle probably has the trickiest pattern. It's always next to the diamond. And if you look closely, it's either at the left of the diamond or at the bottom of the diamond. It is at the left of the diamond at shapes 1 and 3, and it is at the bottom of the diamond at shape 2. Don't you feel like Sherlock Holmes detecting all these patterns? Now it's easy to find the answer. The correct answer here is choice D. To solve this challenge, let's draw the inspiration from Marie Curie, who once said, "Nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood." Now it's time for you to understand how to solve this question. And your decision to tackle this question is the first step. Let your pursuit of understanding illuminate the path to success in your career and may it lead to your rewarding position at the company of your dream. You're presented with the series of numbers 1, 12, 45, and the next number is missing. You need to calculate and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 134. Choice B, 144. Choice C, 154. And last but not least, choice D, 164. You may think that this question is daunting, yet this particular one offers unique opportunity for you to expand your knowledge and skills. Pause, take a deep breath, and engage with this question confidently. Your dedication to understanding and solving this problem is not just preparing you for the test, but for a successful career ahead. Together, we will conquer these challenges and enhance your resilience. Time's up. Are you ready to show your answer? Consider doing your best on this particular question as an investment in your future success. Right answers add knowledge, while the wrong answers teach resilience. Both are invaluable in your continuous journey of self-improvement. In fact, one of the most crucial parts of your self-improvement journey is believing that making mistakes is not just part of the learning process, but crucial to it, since it enables your personal and intellectual development. And speaking about mistakes, you might be curious to learn that the most typical mistake on this particular question is trying only to do one math operation to determine the next number in the sequence. But in fact, the pattern here requires you to do two calculations. First number is a given, which is 1. Next number is calculated by adding 3 and multiplying the results by 3 again. Let's look at the example. 1 plus 3 in parentheses multiplied by 3 equals 4 multiplied by 3 and equals 12. To calculate the next number, let's add 3 to 12 and multiply by 3, and the result would be equal 15 multiplied by 3 and equals 45. And now is the time to calculate the missing number. 45 plus 3 multiplied by 3 equals 144. So the correct answer here is choice B, 144. To solve this challenge, let's draw the inspiration from an Amelia Earhart. The most difficult things to do is the decision to act. The rest is merely a tenacity. Well, you've already made a decision to practice for the assessment test. Let's make sure your tenacity fuels your journey through this question, and may it open the doors to fulfilling the career at the company you aspire to join. You're presented with 3 number pairs. The first pair is 37 and 7321. The second pair is 25 and 5210. And then the third pair only has the first number, which is 89. And the second number you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 9872. Choice B, 3575. Choice C, 7391. And last but not least, choice D, 9817. You might be preempting a comment from me on this question's level of difficulty. But let's remember Mrs. Earhart and her tenacity. Instead, let's look at this question in the assessment test as an invitation to grow. Take a moment to compose yourself, trust in your potential, and face the question with zeal and determination. By joining forces, we'll navigate this challenge and emerge more formidable on the other side. Time's up. Are you ready to show your answer? Consider doing your best on every question as an investment into your future success. Right answers add knowledge, while the wrong answers teach resilience. Both are invitation to your continuous journey of self-improvement. In fact, you should believe that making mistakes is not just part of learning, but crucial to it, enabling personal and intellectual development. Speaking about mistakes, the most typical mistake people make here is trying to solve this problem without understanding the pattern of the calculations. And the pattern here is rather simple. The missing number is calculated as concatenation of reverse digits and then multiplication of the digits, helping us to obtain the final number. Let's look at the example. The first number is 37. To calculate the number on the right of the 37, the first 2 digits would be reverse 37, which is 73. And then we add to this 73 multiplication of 7 multiplied by 3, which is 21. So the first pair is 37 and 7321. Let's continue the calculations. The number on the right of the 25 is calculated as reverse digits, which is 52, and then multiplication of 2 by 5, which is 10. So the number is 5210. And now is the time to calculate the missing number on the right of the 89. The first two digits are calculated as the reverse of 89, which would be 98. And second two digits are multiplication of 8 by 9, which is 72. So the correct answer here is choice A, 9872. In this section, we will look at electrical skills questions we frequently see on the test. The electrical assessment may include various types of questions, tasks, and scenarios that gauge candidates' understanding of electrical principles, troubleshooting skills, and practical applications. Some typical types of questions might include theory and concept, where candidate might be tested on their understanding of electrical theories, concepts, and fundamental principles. Another popular one is circuit analysis, where a candidate could be presented with the circuit diagram and asked to analyze or troubleshoot them. This might involve identifying components, determining voltages and currents, and predicting circuit behavior. Last but not least type of question could be problem solving, where scenarios involving electrical issues or malfunctioning may be presented, and candidate may be asked to diagnose and propose solutions to these problems. Let's look at some sample electrical skill questions we frequently see on the test. Here's an amazing question where you need to determine what's going to happen based on the diagram. You're presented with an electrical diagram, which contains 3 bulbs, electricity generator, and 1 switch. You need to determine if the electrical switch is turned on, which light bulbs will light up. Take a close look and select the answer as 1 out of 5 possible choices. Choice A, light bulb 1. Choice B, light bulbs 1 and 3. Choice C, light bulb 3. Choice D, none of the light bulbs. And last but not least, choice E, all of the light bulbs. Interesting question, don't you think so? I think I got my answer. So I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. The diagram seems very complex. So let's start with the basics to understand what's going to happen. As you might be well aware, there are at least 2 types of circuits in electricity: series circuit and parallel circuit. In the series circuit with 2 light bulbs, the current has only one path to flow. And if one bulb is not functioning, for example, it could be burned out, it will break the circuit and prevent the other bulb from lighting up. In a parallel circuit, each component, each bulb, has its own separate path for current to flow. Turning on the switch would allow current to flow through both bulbs independently, and they would both light up. If one of the bulbs is dysfunctional in parallel circuit, it will only impact the burnt up bulb, as the other bulb in the circuit will light up. In this question, we have parallel circuits and series circuit as part of electrical diagram. Turning on the switch would allow current to flow through both parallel circuits independently, and they would both light up, but only if all bulbs were functional. I don't know if you noticed, but light bulb 2 is dysfunctional light bulb. And since it is dysfunctional and it is part of the series circuit, which is inside of the parallel circuit too, neither bulb 1 nor bulb 2 will light up. So the correct answer is choice 3. Light bulb 3 will light up if we turn on the switch. Did you get to the same conclusion? If not, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments. Here's the tricky problem, but I have full confidence you will be able to solve it. You have 3 switches outside the room and 3 light bulbs inside the room, with each switch controlling just one and only one light bulb. You need to determine which switch controls which bulb, but there are some limitations. For example, you cannot look inside the room while you're setting the switches, and you're only allowed to enter the room once. Bulbs are reachable, so when you enter the room, you will be able to switch bulbs if necessary. The question is, how can you determine which switch controls which bulb if you're only allowed to enter the room once? Tricky question, don't you think so? But the most interesting thing that there is a hint inside the question itself. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. I think to solve this challenge, you need to turn on any 2 bulbs and keep them on for the period of time. For example, to keep it simple, you can use switches 1 and 2 to turn them on. After a few minutes, you can turn off one of the switches that you initially turned on, For example, switch 2. The idea is that you let the bulb warm up, so you can determine which bulb was on for a period of time by touching it when you enter the room. When you enter the room, you will see that one bulb is on and two bulbs will be off, but you will be able to touch both bulbs that are off to determine which one is warm. This is the bulb that is connected to the switch 2, because this is the bulb that you turned on for a few minutes and then turned off. What's interesting is that there is a hint in the question itself. As we learned in the question, bulbs are reachable, so when you enter the room, you can switch the light bulbs if necessary. You have no need of switching them, but you can determine which bulb is warm, so you can determine which bulb was on for a period of time. Here's an amazing question to test your skills and knowledge. You're presented with the relay, and you need to identify the relay type, which is shown below. It could be one out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, SPST. Choice B, SPDT. Choice C, DPDT. And last but not least, choice D, none of the above. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Seems a little confusing, don't you think so? But I think I got my answer, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As usual, let's start with the definition. So what is a relay? Basically, a relay is a switch, and it's electrically operated switch which is used to control the flow of current in the electrical circuit. There are many types of relays available, but let's focus on the 3 that are choices in the answers of this question: SPST, SPDT, and DPDT. Let's start with the simplest one, single pole, single throw relay. In this relay, there is a single set of contacts, basically a single switch. This relay can provide a simple on-off control where the load, such as lamp, motor, or solenoid, is either connected or disconnected. Here is the simple example where we turn lighting bulb on and off. A lot more complex relay is DPDT, which stands for double pole, double throw. This type of relay has 2 sets of contacts, each with a common terminal and 2 other terminals. Here's how DPDT relay works. As you might have guessed, DP stands for double pole. The double pole indicates that there are 2 separate circuits, poles, within the relay. Each pole has its own set of contacts. Double throw, DT, on the other hand, means that each pole can switch between 2 different positions or states. In other words, each pole has a normally opened, NO contact, and normally closed, NC contact. But as you might have guessed, neither SPST nor DPDT are the correct answer to the question. There is another type of relay, SPDT, which stands for single pole, double throw, which is shown on the original picture. In SPDT relay, there is a single set of common contacts that can be connected to 1 or 2 other sets of contacts. The common contacts are connected to either the normally open NO contact or the normally closed NC contact, but not both simultaneously. SPDT relays are used for applications where a changeover between 2 different states is needed. Common uses include reversing the direction of a motor, switching between 2 power sources, or toggling between 2 different devices. So the correct answer here is choice B, SPDT. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer, solution, and rationale in comments. Here's an amazing question to test your electrical skills, specifically your knowledge of electrical circuits. In the circuit shown, how many switches need to be closed to light up at least 1 bulb? You're presented with the circuit, and you need to select 1 out of 5 possible choices. Choice A, none. Choice B, 1. Choice C, 2. Choice D, 3. And last but not least, choice E, 4 switches. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. The key here is not to overthink the problem. So I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. The key to solve these types of challenges is not to overthink the problem. Let's start with the definitions. We're dealing with multiple devices here. So let's look how do we define each one of them. Let's start with the battery. Battery is a device that converts stored chemical energy into electrical energy and provides the necessary voltage to drive the current through the circuit. Next one on the list is the light bulb. It's an electrical device that emits lights, producing visible illumination. We have 4 of these light bulbs, so let's give each one unique ID. We'll call them L1, L2, L3, and L4. We also have 4 switches, and switch represents a device that's designed to control the flow of electric current through the circuit. Switch can either complete the circuit in its closed position or break the circuit in its open position, enabling or interrupting the flow of electricity. Since we have 4 of them, let's give each switch unique ID. We'll call them S1, S2, S3, and S4. And last concept that we're dealing with here is concept of circuit. Circuit is a defined pathway or route through which electric current can flow, connecting various components and allowing the transfer of electrical energy. Our circuit consists of 1 battery, 4 light bulbs, 4 switches, and all the conductors that connect these devices. To better understand how we should answer this question, let's understand how simple circuit works. Simple circuit contains only 1 light bulb, 1 switch, 1 battery, and conductors connecting these devices. When the switch in a circuit with 1 switch and 1 bulb is closed, it allows the flow of electric current to pass through the circuit. In this state, the bulb lights up due to the passage of electrical current. When we open the switch, it breaks the circuit's continuity. As a result, the current stops flowing, and the bulb turns off because there is no electricity that reaches it. Now, with the understanding of this simple circuit, let's go back to the original question. I think that at least 2 switches need to be closed to light up at least 1 bulb in the circuit shown. And one of the closed switches must be S1. When switch S1 in the circuit is closed, it allows the flow from the negative battery terminal to be connected. In addition, any one of the switches S2, S3, or S4 need to be closed as well to create the flow of electricity, but at least one of them should be closed to light up at least 1 bulb. In this state, the bulb lights up due to the passage of electric current. So the correct answer here is choice C, 2 switches. I also have a question for you. If switches S1 and S3 are closed, how many light bulbs will light up? And which ones are they going to be? Please make sure to post your answer and solution and rationale in comments so I can give you my feedback. This is Vadim from Online Training for Everyone, and in this video I'll share with you how to pass a mechanical aptitude employment assessment test. A mechanical aptitude test is an assessment designed to measure a person's understanding of mechanical principles and their ability to apply them to various situations. Mechanical aptitude tests typically assess several key areas. One of the areas is mechanical comprehension questions, which gauge your understanding of basic mechanical principles, such as gears, pulleys, levers, and simple machines. Candidate is presented with the diagram or scenarios, and you're being asked to identify how they work or what will happen in a given situation. Spatial reasoning questions assess your ability to mentally manipulate objects in 3-dimensional space. Candidate is asked to visualize how parts fit together, identify patterns, or rotate the objects in your mind. Tools and instrument questions evaluate your familiarity with common tool and instruments used in mechanical work. Candidate is asked to identify tool by names, functions, or images. And last but not least category is mechanical problem solving. These questions present you with mechanical problems or scenarios and test your ability to analyze and solve them. You may need to determine the cause of malfunction, identify the correct sequence of actions, or choose the appropriate tool or method to fix the problem. Employers use mechanical aptitude tests to evaluate the suitability of the candidate for jobs that require mechanical knowledge and skills, such as engineering, manufacturing, automotive, and technical positions. In this video, you will have everything you need to get prepared for an assessment test. Make sure to watch this video from the beginning to end, and if necessary, multiple times until you understand all the questions and know how to solve them easily. If you would like to practice with the most recent questions for this assessment, please make sure to follow the links in the description and in the comments of this video. And now, let's go ahead and get started so we can get you prepared. Well, you can't argue with the author, Roy T. Bennett, who once wrote, "The only limits you have are the limits you believe." So let's approach this question with the mindset of unlimited potential, refusing to be constrained by self-imposed limitations. You're presented with the seesaw diagram, and you need to determine based on diagram how much force must be applied at X to balance the seesaw. Your choices are choice A, 4F, choice B, 2F, choice C, F divided by 2, and last but not least, choice D, F divided by 4. I might know what you're about to say about difficulty of this question, but remember, facing a challenging question on the assessment test can feel daunting, but every obstacle is an opportunity for your growth. Take a moment to gather your thoughts, trust in your abilities, and approach this question with determination and resilience. Together, we will navigate through this challenge and emerge stronger on the other side. Time's up. Are you ready with your answer? Whatever answer you chose, remember, learning through trying and making mistakes is a fundamental process where you actively engage in attempting to do something new or challenging. We encourage and embrace mistakes on this YouTube channel, because when you make mistakes, you gain insights and understand what doesn't work, which guides your future attempts. This hands-on experience and the lessons learned from the errors are crucial for you mastering new skills and knowledge. To answer this question, we need to understand how to balance the seesaw. And to balance it, you need to apply the same force on both sides at the same distances. For example, force F on the left is equals to force F on the right, which makes seesaw to balance. Let's look at other important components to better understand the question. For example, we have a pivot which is in the middle, and the distances which are represented by the letter A in this particular diagram. Are you interested to learn about the most common mistakes people make answering this question? I think you should be, and the most common mistake is forgetting to account for force and distance to make sure they are in equilibrium. What does it mean? If you change the weight of the objects on the seesaw, or if you change the distance, the balance of the seesaw will change as well. In fact, the closer we move to the pivot, the more force we would have to apply to balance, which means that we should use heavier objects to reach the equilibrium. For example, if we have two boxes on the seesaw, one heavier than the other, you would need to move heavier box closer to the pivot to balance the seesaw. Mathematically speaking, to balance the seesaw, the sum of clockwise movements must be equal to the sum of anti-clockwise movements. Let's build the equation to help solve this challenge. F multiplied by A would be equal X multiplied by A divided by 2. So to solve it, X would be equal to F. So the correct answer here is choice B, 2F. To get us on the right track with this question and help you solve it, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So let's approach this assessment test question with determination and perseverance, recognizing that each obstacle we overcome brings us closer to success. You're presented with 3 buckets. Buckets are hanging from the strings, and you need to determine which bucket is the heaviest if all buckets are fixed to equal lengths flexible string. You have 4 choices. Choices are A, B, C, and last but not least, choice D, neither. The only thing obvious here is that this question may seem daunting at first, but I know you have the skills and creativity to tackle it. Trust in your abilities, and let's explore all possible solutions together. Let's tackle it as a team. Are you ready to show your answer? I have no doubts that together we will decode this tough question. And I hope you did give it a try. Remember that every attempt, regardless of the outcome, contributes to your growth and development. To get to the answer, let's first look at the question in more details. We have 3 buckets. Each bucket is connected to the string connectors with the string of the same length. All string connectors are on the same string line. And what we can visually see is that bucket A is in the highest position, bucket B is a little bit lower, and the bucket C is in the lowest position. What does it tell us? What we know from physics is that when multiple objects are suspended from the flexible string, they will settle into the state of equilibrium. In the state of equilibrium, the tension in the string will be equal at all points along its length. However, due to the differences in weight, the heavier bucket will exert a greater downward force on the string compared to the lighter buckets. As a result, the heavier bucket will cause more tension in the string, causing it to sag lower compared to the lighter buckets. This visual cue of the lower position of the bucket C can give you an impression that the bucket C is heavier, even though it may or may not be the case in the reality. But here's the caveat. This would only be true if the distance between string connectors would be the same. This introduces another consideration here, because distance A for the bucket A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C for the bucket C. Because the distance shortens between the string connectors, and distance A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C, this might explain why bucket B and bucket C is lower still. But it becomes obvious that because the distance between connector shortening, it's impossible to determine which bucket is the heaviest, since shortening of the distance from A to C can explain lower positioning of the bucket, even if buckets would have the same weight. Think about it, because it's very logical. Even if the buckets would be of the same weight, by shortening the distance between string connectors, you will be able to lower the bucket. Based on this, I can conclude that the correct answer here is choice D, neither. But this question is not as obvious. Do you have different considerations? Please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question to test your knowledge of mechanical movement of objects. You're presented with the picture of person moving the object, and you need to determine if all objects weigh the same, which one will be easiest to move forward if the same person is pushing with equal force. You need to select one out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, person moving forward a cube. Choice B, person moving forward a hexagon. Choice C, person moving forward a ball. And last but not least is neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's analyze all shapes individually to better understand the answer. Let's start with the cube. Cube typically has a symmetrical weight distribution, which can contribute to its stability when moving on the ground. However, due to its edges and corners, a cube can experience higher levels of friction when compared to objects with rounded shapes and will be hard to roll. Most likely way of moving the cube forward would be pushing it, which will create a lot of resistance. Now let's look at the hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides, and the shape can vary depending upon the specific dimensions and proportions. Compared to a cube, a hexagon generally has fewer edges and corners, which reduces the friction and makes it easier to move on the ground by rolling. Even though it might be easier to move than the cube, the ease of movement will also depend on the specific dimensions and weight distribution of the hexagon. Which brings us to choice C, sphere or ball, which typically has a smooth surface. The absence of edges and corners reduces the contact area with the ground, which results in a lower friction. This makes it easier to move the ball forward by rolling on the ground, compared to objects with edges or corners. This is why choice C is correct. It will have minimum friction and will facilitate smooth movement with minimum resistance. To solve this question, we need to remember the spirit of Oprah Winfrey, who famously said, "Challenges are gifts that force us to search for the new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand." Let's embrace the challenge presented in this question, viewing them as opportunities to discover innovative solutions and approaches. You need to determine how submerged pencil will look in the glass of water. You're presented with 3 visual choices. Choices A, B, and C. And then there's the last choice D, neither. Do you think you know the answer? Well, just like a lot of things in life, this question may not be the easiest to solve. But I have full confidence that you have all the required skills and creativity to tackle it. And I know that you definitely will give it a try by pausing this video. Trust in your abilities, and let's explore all possible options together. Let's tackle this problem as a team. Ready to show your answer? I truly hope your answer is correct. But remember that regardless of being correct or not, every attempt, regardless of the outcome, contributes to your personal growth and development. What's cool about this question is that it gives us the opportunity to refresh our knowledge in the concept called refraction. When you put pencil through the water surface, going from substance of air into the substance of water, the light rays passing through the water are reaching your eyes and they undergo the refraction. Transition from air to water causes the angle of incidence to decrease, leading to a change in the angle of refraction, which bends the pencil's appearance due to the differences in refractive indices of air and water. Refraction can cause the pencil to appear bent or broken at the water surface and to create optical illusions that affect our perception of objects. But what we know for sure is that it's definitely not going to look just like a regular pencil submerged. If you don't believe me, just try this easy-to-conduct experiment for yourself, which means that the correct answer here is choice B. Hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. You would have to agree that solving this particular problem is like baking a cake. It requires the right ingredients, a bit of precision, and the end result is pretty sweet. I think that looking at each test question this way would be like looking at baking a piece of mosaic of your knowledge, contributing to the bigger picture of your abilities. In this question, you're presented with the set of gears, and you need to determine the direction of the last gear. Your choices for answers are choice A, CW, choice B, CCW, choice C, no movement, and last but not least, choice D, depends on X. Feeling challenged by this question? I totally understand. Remember though, that you are not navigating this path alone. Whether you're a problem-solving expert or a newcomer, I have full faith in your capabilities. Take a moment to gather your thoughts, tap into your imaginative side, and let's triumph over this challenge together. Your solution is almost ready and is definitely within reach. Are you ready with your solution? I hope you are, so let's move forward and compare our versions of the answer. Together, we will unravel the complexities of this assessment test question. I'll ask you for a favor though, and specifically to share your thought process in comments. Your insights might hold the key for all of us to learn and improve. To solve this question, we need to identify which gear is the input, which one is connected to the power source, and which one is the output gear, the final gear that performs the desired task. In the next step, we need to identify the direction of rotation for each gear. Gears can rotate clockwise, this is where abbreviation CW comes from, or counterclockwise, this is what CCW stands for. Let's solve this challenge by following the transfer of rotation from one gear to another. Our first input gear is rotating in clockwise direction. As you might be well aware, when rotation is transferred to another gear, it will be rotated in the opposite direction, which would be counterclockwise. Let's follow the directions for each gear. Input 1 is clockwise, then counterclockwise, clockwise again, counterclockwise again, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, and the output gear is rotating in clockwise direction. Let me show you alternative way how you can solve it faster. For example, if the number of gears in between input and output is odd, the last gear will rotate in the same direction as input gear. On the other hand, if the number of gears is even, the last gear will rotate in the opposite direction from the first gear. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the odd number of gears. The simplest odd number is 1. The rotations transferred from input clockwise to the next gear counterclockwise and then to the output, which would be clockwise again. On the other hand, if there is an even number of gears in between input and output, and the smallest even number is 2, you see how rotation converts from input clockwise to the opposite to input counterclockwise at the output gear. With this in mind, let's solve this challenge alternative way. Let's count number of gears in between input and output. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gears. And since there are 7 gears in between input and output gears, which is odd number, the direction of output gear will be the same as the direction of the input gear. So the correct answer here is choice A, CW, clockwise. I think this question is not just about engineering, but also about your critical thinking and analytical skills. If you use the same bow to shoot arrows at angles of 45 degrees, 0 degrees, and 60 degrees, which angle will make the arrow travel the farthest? You have 4 possible choices. Choice A, 45 degrees. Choice B, 0 degrees. Choice C, 60 degrees. And last but not least, choice D, neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the analysis and answer, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's start by looking at the scenario where we shoot the arrow at 0 degrees, which ultimately means horizontal shot. When you shoot it at 0 degrees, it means you're firing it horizontally, parallel to the ground. In this case, the arrow initial velocity is responsible for its horizontal distance because there is no vertical component in its motion. What's interesting here is that the arrow will cover some horizontal distance, but it won't travel very far because gravity starts acting on it immediately, pulling it downward. Now let's compare it to shooting an arrow at a 60-degree angle. This means we are launching it at a steeper angle upward compared with even 45-degree angle. What's interesting in this case is that while it still have a horizontal component, more of its initial velocity is directed upward. As a result, the arrow will reach a greater height but cover less horizontal distance before it hits the ground. Which brings us to the 45-degree angle solution. If you want to make sure your arrow reach farthest horizontal distance, you should shoot it at a 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle allows for the best balance between horizontal and vertical components of an arrow's motion, maximizing its range. So the correct answer here is choice B, 45 degrees. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question which tests your knowledge of objects, their properties, and the way they move from the top of the hill down to the ground. You're presented with 3 different objects, and you need to determine which object will reach ground first when pushed to slide from the top of the hill. You have 4 possible choices to select from. Choice A, wheel. Choice B, wooden box. Choice C, sticky substance. And last but not least, choice D, they all reach the ground at the same time. Take a close look, maybe pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I have my selection, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To determine the answer, let's look at each object individually. This will help us decide all the considerations related to their sliding from the top of the hill down to the ground. Let's start with the cube. Cube's shape may cause it to experience higher levels of friction against the slide, slowing its descent. But at the same time, sticky substance may move even slower, because the behavior of sticky substance will largely depend on its viscosity and adhesive properties. If the substance is highly viscous and adheres strongly to the slide, it may experience significant resistance and it will take much longer for it to reach the ground. In some scenarios, depending upon viscosity, the sticky substance may never reach the ground at all. Based on this, I think most likely sticky substance will be the slowest in reaching down the bottom of the slide, followed by the cube, which would be second in the sliding down. So, as you might have guessed, I am putting my bets on the wheel. I think wheel's rolling motion will help reduce friction with the slide, allowing wheel to move more smoothly. This is why the wheel may reach the ground faster than all other objects. This is why I think the correct answer is choice A, wheel, because the wheel will roll and will have minimum friction to reach the ground. Did you come to the different conclusion? If yes, please make sure to post your answer, solution, and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's a very interesting question where you need to demonstrate your knowledge of tools and their uses. Samir is about to tackle a tricky repair job. You need to identify the essential tool featured in the image and select the option that best matches it. You're presented with 5 choices. Choices A, B, C, D, E. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve this, as usual, please post in comments. I believe you probably recognize the tool shown. It is screwdriver. But this is only the first step. In the second step, we need to identify all other tools shown and determine their relationship with screwdriver. I think choice A is a knife. A knife is a cutting tool, and it is not closely related to a screwdriver. Choice B is a nail. A nail is a fastening tool, which is used to join materials, but it's also not directly related to the screwdriver. Choice D is a hammer. And hammer is a tool that's used to drive nails or other fasteners, which is different from screwdriver's primary function. And choice E is a bolt, which is the type of fastener, like a screw, but it's not directly related to a screwdriver. So, as you might have guessed, the correct answer here is choice C, screw. In fact, screwdriver is specifically designed for turning screws. When using a screwdriver, you insert its tip into the head of a screw and turn it to tighten or loosen the screw. You can even guess it based on the names, screwdriver and screw. This relationship between the screwdriver and the screw makes choice C the most closely related tool or object to the screwdriver in the given options. Was your answer different? Or maybe you had other considerations? If you did, please make sure to post them in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question to see how well you know the tools. You're presented with 5 tools, and you need to match the tool with the task performed. Choice 1. Tool is used for making curved cuts in various materials. Choice 2 is used to loosen or tighten plumbing pipes. Choice 3 used to apply sparkle or correction putty. Choice 4 is used to apply lubrication to gears and machinery. And last but not least, choice 5 is used for cutting down trees, trimming branches, and processing woods. And you need to match this description with choices A, B, C, D, and E. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Are you ready? I think I'm ready on my end, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's start with the choice 1. I believe the description for choice 1 is a jigsaw. Jigsaw is a handheld power tool equipped with the reciprocating blade used for making intricate curved cuts in the materials such as wood, metal, or plastic. And description 1 matches image B. I think choice 2 matches the pipe wrench. And a pipe wrench is a specialized hand tool used for gripping and turning plumbing pipes to tighten or loosen them during installation or repair. As you might have guessed, description 2 matches the image E. I think description 3 matches putty knife. And the putty knife is a flat, flexible tool, often with a metal blade used for applying and smoothing substances like spackle, correction putty, or paint on surfaces. And description 3 matches choice C. I think choice 4 is a grease gun. A grease gun is a handheld device designed for applying lubricating grease to machinery, gears, or bearings to reduce friction or maintain proper functioning. And last but not least, description 5 resembles a chainsaw. Chainsaw is a portable mechanical saw with a rotating chain of sharp teeth, commonly used for felling trees, cutting branches, and processing wood in forestry, construction, or landscaping. You can see grease gun matching image A and chainsaw matching image D. Did you come up with any other conclusions? Or maybe have some other thoughts about this question? Please make sure to post your feedback and rationale in comments so we can all learn. This is one of the most exciting questions because it allows you to test your analytical skills and understanding of physics. You need to determine which fan throws more air if all the fans rotate at the same speed? The choices are fan A, fan B, fan C, and last but not least, choice D, neither fan. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Are you ready? I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might be well aware, there are two key factors to help determine the airflow rate. The first one is the size of the fan's blade, and the second one is rotational speed of the fan, which is measured in RPMs, which stands for revolution per minute. A fan with the larger blades can capture and move more air per revolution compared to the same fan design with the smaller blades. And this is exactly what we're dealing with here in this question. In addition, the rotational speed of the fan affects the airflow design. The higher RPM generally results in a higher airflow rate as the fan blades are able to move through the air at the faster rate. As you can see here, the fans A, B, and C all have the same design. This is why, given the fact that three fans have the same design but different sizes, the fan with the largest size will throw more air compared to the smaller fans. This is why the correct answer here is choice C. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please share your answer and rationale in comments. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you for helping us to become one of the largest YouTube channels to help people become smarter, increase your IQ, and to pass any test. If the content of this video was helpful, please make sure to click the like button to help YouTube algorithm promote this video and help other people to find it faster. Giving us a like is also a way for you to tell us that you need more content like this, and when you tell us, we will deliver it for you in the future. For links to free and premium resources, please check the description and comments of this video. You can also go directly to our website, howtoanalyzedata.net, to download the materials related to this topic. I really appreciate your endorsement, support, and patronage of this channel. And thank you for considering to become a member and considering to subscribe. Please leave feedback, suggestions, or corrections in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.